guys, welcome back. This is episode 3. Today we're going to talk more about preamplifiers. And in general there's basically two preamplifiers, the more traditional transistor-based preamplifiers, and then we've got the more valve-based preamplifiers. Yes, a very important component in your chain towards the loudspeakers. So basically a preamp is not just about volume control and to select different sources. It actually contributes to improve the performance, the overall performance of the sound that is reproduced, especially in the home environment. I actually prefer more valve-based preamplifiers. I think they bring you closer to the music, in my opinion. They also much more dynamic, and especially in the vocals, they actually perform better for me. They're more open, you get a better sound stage, and also instruments are rendered more clearly, I think. So what is the reason for that? I think it's to do with actually the electron flow within the component. In a transistor, the electrons has to actually move within the silicon. In valves, the electrons actually move in a vacuum. And you can think to yourself, the actual resistance that there is towards the electron flow in the valves are a lot less than what it would be in silicon, and I think that's one of the main reasons. Look, yes, transistors are much more stable, long-lasting, these type of things, and if you're on the move, I don't think a valve will be the right component to choose if you are in a vehicle or maybe in flight. So definitely transistors is the way to go for electronics for the next generation. But for the serious audiophile or persons that really enjoy their music, valve-based preamplifiers can really contribute towards your listening experience. Then I will also share with you some of the preamplifiers that I was privileged to audition in my system. Quite so many. On top of the list is actually the Audio Research Rev 6, a very good preamplifier. This one I would recommend for the audiophile or the real audiophile connoisseur. Very good preamplifier in all terms. Excellent, it's dynamic, it's got low extension, it's really a top of the line preamplifier. But for me, in my system, I prefer the Valve Audio Genesis preamp. I think it's basically up to the actual design. They use the 6922 valves, quite a well-known preamplifier valve. And then the specific design actually make use of a linear power supply, and then the coupling caps were actually also pre-ordered. They also make a difference in actually the sound quality. Then you're also open to interchange your valves. You can actually, what they term valve rolling, you can actually change your valves, and you can actually put the different manufacturers valves in there to listen to improve maybe the performance of the actual preamplifier. So one of the ones that I've deployed is the Genelex, and you can also use JJ valves. So there is various different manufacturers, and you're welcome to test that in your preamplifier if you've got a valve preamplifier. Yes, you know, you don't need to spend big money. You can the best advice I can give you is go for a preamplifier, try it in your system, and then if it suits your listening taste, then deploy that preamplifier, irrespective if it's a valve or a transistor preamplifier, you know, depending on what you like. But in general, I feel that valve preamplifiers add that extra dynamics and also brings out the emotional content of the music. Yeah, then a little bit more about the specific preamp that I use, the Valve Audio. Yes, like as I mentioned previously, it's a local company, and they've really made a name for themselves, or actually Scott is the owner. He actually designed these preamps, and he actually put it together himself. So today he's got actually a small team putting these preamps together for him. But of course he doesn't just do preamps, he does power amps. They also integrated Valve products, and in his integrated amplifiers he actually make use of hybrid technology. What I mean by that is the input stage is Valve, and then your output stages are MOSFETs. So it's actually a hybrid design, and also very good value for money. His products, very good sound, very good performance. So I can really recommend Valve Audio from South Africa. Just to summarize, you get basically two different designs. One more traditional or transistor-based preamplifiers. Of course, there's different varieties with maybe using some FETs, JFETs on the input, and then MOSFETs as a driver stage, and as a final stage it could be transistor, but it's all basically transistor-based. And then you get your valve-based preamplifiers. And yes, quite a difference in sound, I think, but in general, for me, the valve-based designs actually give me much more enjoyment, and it brings me closer to the music, in my opinion. Yes, guys, and then there's also a more technical aspect around preamplifiers. Some preamplifiers are single-ended designs, and others are what they call balanced or fully balanced designs. All that it means is that with a single-ended, you've got basically a signal conductor and then a shield around that, ground. So you've got a signal conductor and a ground, and that's then a single-ended design. And with the balanced design, you actually have two signal conductors and a shield, and the two signal conducting wires are basically carry an in-phase signal and a 180 phase out-of-phase version of the same signal, and that then gets amplified throughout the system. So if you have a balanced signal coming from your DAC, it will then be fed to your balanced preamplifier. It will take both of these two signals and amplify both of them, and they will then exit off the preamplifier and go into your power amplifier. And if that power amplifier is also a balanced design, it will then go all the way through balance to your speaker, where both the positive and the negative wires will actually carry signal. In a single-ended design, then you'll only have the signal on the positive part of the conductor, and on the other conductor it will be actually ground or zero. Or a reference, if they call it like that. So that's basically the other two technical aspects around preamplifiers. You get the single-ended and then of course the balanced designs. So in the case of Skalk's preamp, the valve audio, the Genesis, it's a fully balanced design, but it can also take single-ended inputs. And then in the case of the Freya Plus, it's also a fully balanced preamplifier, but you can utilize that as a single-ended input as well, and single-ended outputs. But yes, so the moment it's fully balanced, I think it's also a more flexible type of design, and you can actually have benefits from the balanced design and having higher signal-to-noise ratios. Okay, guys, then normally we share some of our favorite artists. So if we look at female vocals, which I think valves actually benefit in the reproduction of female voices, in my opinion. One of our big favorites is also Melody Gardot, and I think you guys out there will also appreciate her. She's quite a good voice, a good artist. And then also, of course, Katie Melua. That's also one of our favorites. So guys, yes. This is then our episode 3, more about preamplifiers, and of course I speak more about the actual preamplifiers that I had on my system and the ones that I could audition in my home environment. Like I've always said, it's actually better to audition these preamplifiers or various components of the hi-fi chain in your system and in your home environment, because there you can actually determine if it actually brings enhanced performance to the system. Well, how about you, Teresa? So what did you think about the preamplifiers?
Now, bro, tell them about the FX audio.
Oh, so this small, yeah, the one that we bought about a year back or so. Yeah, so guys, yeah, this was quite fun. We bought it, we saw this online, FX Audio, and it's a true valve-based preamplifier, single-ended, as you can see at the back. So it's got the plain input, and then it's got the valve circuitry and a volume control, and then it goes out to your equipment. So yes, I've even tested the FX Audio in my system. So it's not to say that you have to spend an arm and a leg on a preamplifier. You can, if you really want the, let's call it the valve sound, you can you know, buy this type of design. Very plain, straightforward design. Of course, the only drawback of this one is there's no volume control, but we got very decent results from it. It wasn't bad. Of course, it can't compete to your you know, really high-end products, but in general, if you want the valve experience, yeah, you can go for something like this, and we actually enjoyed this unit, and I can recommend it. So this is the they call it a Tube 01, and it's from FX Audio, and you can actually order it online. Of course, there's other various competing designs, and you're welcome to test all of them. So it's not always about having an Uber preamplifier, all these real high-end, I call it monsters. You can actually go also for an FX Audio. So Teresa, yes. So like I say, audio is not about really spending so much money. So guys, that's us. If you can, please subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. And thanks again from us, the audio couple.